Yeah,
close to home.
yeah.
We kind of got lax when it's away from home.
Well,
I gotta freeze a bunch this year for Chase's graduation party.
yeah, you told me that you were gonna make some stuff. What was it, that macaroni casserole, or what was it that you were making, that you use that with? That's so
No,
good.
I just do sweet corn for his party.
You just do plain? You made that macaroni one time.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. I love that. That has the Velveeta cheese in it.
Tracy, Haley, I understand from one of my meetings, and they're looking at something called an owl. It's a audio cam, and it mounts
Oh, yeah, that is, Heather knows about that. They're expensive though.
about $1,200. What it does is that if someone is speaking, it focuses over to that person. And speaking from practical experience, especially last week, hard to hear people, extremely hard. I can hear you, and I can hear Haley, and that's pretty well where it stops.
And I even had it moved over there in the middle.
What's that?
I even moved that to that one.
Well, that's the recorder though.
Yeah, but that's what picks up the audio.
For that thing?
Mm-hmm.
So it's good. So when I move it.
Really? Okay. But I even had, Adam's got a nice voice, and when he came.
I was sitting way back here though. So
No, you did move up.
I did.
But there was times where I couldn't even hear you then.
Oh.
It's, no offense, as we get into a conversation, sometimes we tend to trail off.
Oh, yeah. No,
And so that makes it tough, if you will. So,
Yeah.
but it's, you get someone in here like the county attorney who sits way over in the corner and will not move up. It's impossible, impossible to hear him. So, just passing that on.
Have you heard anything from yesterday?
Well, we're supposed to meet today after today's meeting at 10.
10?
Up in my room.
Was yesterday afternoon very confrontational? Okay. Good.
And my phone call was Kate Robertson. She'd heard through the grapevine that she was losing her office.
Thought she knew this.
Yeah, I thought you guys were gonna talk to her.
Well, I hadn't talked to her. I'm not on that, hiring
Somebody
thing.
said they
But
were gonna.
I reassured her that she would have a spot available here, smaller. I said, but as per your own comments, you'd like to have something more centrally located in the county. Oh yeah, for sure. She'd like to have that. And so, yeah, great, swell, no problems. So that large office, probably the only real question she had is, a timeline. So that would be about the only real.
I'll know more
Today.
at 10:30 today.
There you go. So I told her it'd probably be, 30 days, maybe,
Oh,
which would be basically the 1st of June.
yeah,
Otherwise, 1st of July for sure
yeah.
and It's just no problem. She just wanted to have a place to be able to at least move her stuff to.
Okay,
So there's no issues.
okay.
Just.
Yeah, because like I said, I've never seen her in her office all the time.
Well, especially since the pandemic.
Yeah, well, like I said, I haven't, never.
Well, and if she does her job correctly, she shouldn't be hanging out in the office.
Mm-hmm.
Plain and simple.
Mm-hmm.
It was a nice place to meet with clientele, and last year nobody's hardly been meeting anybody.
I haven't seen her, but
Yeah.
doesn't mean she wasn't here.
Oh, sure. Thank you, sir.
Adam?
I'm fine, thanks.
All right, you ready to call it to order?
Yep.
I
Pledge allegiance
to the
flag of the United States
of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gary not in here?
Pardon?
Gary not here? I guess he was trying.
Nope, he's not coming in today.
Is he driving a blue truck?
Oh, he's got
Usually,
one.
Oh, I thought that was Gary's.
well, the old blue, that's mine.
Oh, I
He's got a little one. Yeah.
Rex got
A big blue.
thought- That's like a little.
He's got a little blue, I got old blue.
Okay, Barb.
I'd like to set a land use hearing for David Sutton for Tuesday, June 1st at 9:15 a.m.
Well, I would make that motion that we set that public hearing for
And I'll
David
second it.
Sutton.
All in favor, setting a hearing date for David Sutton, June 1st?
Aye,
Aye.
Thank you.
thank you. I didn't have any questions on the minutes, did you?
Okay, I did not either.
I'd make a motion that we approve those.
Then I guess I second it. All in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Aye. Then I
I looked those over. I did not have any questions. Sheriff contacted me regarding the questions I had last week.
yeah,
Was it last week or week before? Week before, I guess, was, and he answered my questions along the lines of what those repairs were. And I don't have any questions on the claims here, just a big comment, over $90,000 spent for gravel this claim run.
Wow.
So I've been getting some phone calls of how poorly rocked my road is, but obviously they're doing their part, trying to get to them. So I'd make a motion that unless you have
I
questions.
got one question, real quick one here, for you. On page 5, emergency management services. What's that shelter in place?
Oh,
With Two Rivers.
yeah, it's insurance stuff
Mhm.
Scott has to have. Like
Okay,
if we had to have an emergency shelter in place somewhere.
okay. So
I think we do that one once a year, that's probably why
Okay.
you haven't seen it.
So I wanted
Yeah.
to know. Okay, I'll second that. On favor of approving the claims?
Aye.
Aye. Passes.
Yeah, it's kind of coincidental. There's one, Two Rivers Insurance and then Three Rivers Insurance.
We can do one of these real quick here, we got a few minutes. Class B beer permit for Washington Community Athletic Association.
You have the sheriff's letter there that they looked at.
Okay. You wanna look at them, Rick?
May I please?
You're fine, stay there.
Okay, thank you. I'm guessing everything's in order after the sheriff looked him over.
Mhm.
He's got his letter with it. And I'd make the motion that we approve the Class B liquor permit for Watkins Community Activity Association.
Okay, and then I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That passes.
I think we've got time to do the other one.
Okay. That's Bloomsbury.
Yes. And I'd make the motion that we approve the special Class C liquor license for Bloomsbury Farm.
Okay, I'll second it. All in favor?
Hi,
Aye. Adam?
for your initial or signature, sir.
So I gave this packet to you guys last month as far as the potential funding issue or item to discuss. Obviously, it wasn't on the agenda at the time for an official request, but as far as the Middle Cedar WMA, there's movement wanting to move forward with some grant applications to help fund staff positions, which may include myself after this year. Obviously, what the grant operator now is expires at the end of December or until the funding is all used up. So over the course of the past year and a half, I think it was, Tracy, that we started funding discussion of how to come up with a formula for all the members to support what was determined $150,000 budget, which would include a full-time staff person and a part-time administrative services for the course of a year. The members in the WMA their contributions are based on population and percent flood hazard area. And I don't remember which one's weighted which. I think it's 60-40 or 70-30. I can't quite remember exactly. But you can see, so second half of this fiscal year, $22 allocation amounts for each, and then for fiscal year 23, which would be the first full year, what each member would have to contribute to meet the $150,000 goal. As far as Benton County, $10,756 for this remainder of this fiscal year, and then $21,511 for fiscal year 23. The grant we're currently looking at would be a partnership with the NRCS USDA for a 5-year position. We're trying to get a 1-to-1 match for that, which would be about $50,000 cash match in request of USDA, another $50,000 for a 5-year term. I do know Blackhawk County is already pretty much committed to their contributions. Cedar Rapids they've already budgeted their contribution of $23,000 for this next fiscal year. I believe they were able to contribute money for this year too. Grundy Center is also committed to their portion of this contribution formula. There's a handful of others that are discussing it. I think Waterloo is also on board based off our last meeting, working with Cedar Falls on getting some sort of concrete decision from them. But as far as Benton County, obviously that's where I'm housed, and that's where the program is now. And if we want to apply for this money, we have to have commitment letters from members saying that we do have the match available. Now, if you do approve the money and we don't get the grant, then obviously that money wouldn't be spent, right? But that's the request from the organization. They sent me to do that. Obviously, I'm your employer already, so it makes sense for me just to pop in. But, so hopefully you had a time to look over this and think about it. I know I talked to you, Tracy, about it a few times, and I don't know if you looked at it too much since the last meeting or since when we first sent it out or not, but, that's the ask, and that's, if you wanna, is there any discussion, or?
Well, I thought we had already, kind of committed to, going forward with this. We had had discussion in the past.
Just no formal motions.
Yeah,
Correct.
there wasn't really a formal ask for funding.
I understand that, but, I think verbally we had done that. And we had talked some rough numbers at that time. This is a little more concrete. And I don't know why we would backtrack now. And so if you're looking for a motion that we would commit to this, our fiscal year 21-22 budget and the 22-23 budget, I would make that motion. I think it's an excellent program.
And I'll second it.
Do
All
you
in
want
favor?
to go do an amount up to, or?
Well, just the amount that's on the paper here.
Yeah, that's what I would state.
Yeah.
And hopefully the grants would
Come-
come through, which
Yep.
would roll this back.
Yep.
And, it's the amount of property damage when Old Man River gets to angry is just unbelievable.
Yeah, so the NRCS grant that is currently being looked at, that's to support current programs through the USDA. So I don't believe, well, not, at least to my knowledge, I don't know that there's a specific funding for flood control structures through the USDA, but it would be in support of all of their existing programs is how the grant is described. So obviously, if there's something that would come up in the future, that we could use your commitment money for that too.
When
Yeah.
I think of flood control, I think like the walls that they're building in Cedar
Yeah.
Rapids, this
Well, all the
is,
things that I have built, those are all would be considered preventative flood control.
yeah, mitigation.
Yeah.
Things to keep that water from rushing down the streams, rushing to the river.
Mhm.
Yeah, so definitely. So I think it's a good program.
Bring Rick up to date. The other thing that you applied for back when we were at the courthouse, that fell through, right?
Yeah, so the Nature Conservancy, they were submitting a grant to, for this wetland easement program through NRCS. And you guys have agreed to house a staff position if it was awarded. That grant was not awarded. So, at least in the full capacity. So I know they're working with the state to see if they would be willing to do like a reduced award. I don't remember off the top of my head what their top ask was. I wanted to say it was maybe like $20 million, just in the Cedar River Basin. But if they decline that, but I haven't not heard back yet if they would consider a reduced allocation. That's all the news I have on that so far. But that original proposal was denied. So
But still,
there's a possibility, I just haven't heard any. I
Okay.
talked to the Nature Conservancy guy a couple weeks ago, and he has not heard back from, I think it's Des Moines, at the federal office in Des Moines. So
Sure.
they're trying, but that's a little above
People on this one.
my job right now, so I don't.
all right.
I
Thank you.
support staff, I was just support for
No,
that,
well,
that grant, so.
you're supposed to do it formally on
All
that.
right, thank you for that update.
Yeah. I second it now.
Okay.
We never voted, I don't think.
Ready?
Okay. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye. There you go, Andrew.
Great. Well, let everyone know that that's on board, and I know the grant's due
Yeah, it's here.
middle of May, so there's not a lot of time to,
I just sent you an email.
between now and then to submit it, but we should have enough commitment now. that-
A letter of
It'll
recommendation.
be a letter, well, I'm sure there's some sort of specific template that says that Benton County is supportive of.
Are you gonna look into that
Yeah,
template?
that'll all
and then-
be provided, I'm sure.
Okay, that way you can get it back so
Yeah.
Tracy can
They'll
sign.
need a specific commitment amount when you submit the grant, because if you're asking for 50, you want to match 50.
Exactly, yeah.
And if we divvy that up between 3 or 4 members,
Mhm.
it may not be this full amount, but you know, if you approve up to, that's.
Right.
a
You
little
should be able
closer.
to get it.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
great. We'll get that back to Tracy as soon as possible.
Yeah, I'll go send it off.
Okay.
You guys get my phone numbers.
Okay. Discuss and approve quotes to receive on 61st Street.
I think I forwarded you guys all those,
You
didn't I?
did.
You
Okay.
did.
Yep.
And Chris and Myron both have copies too.
Do we want to go back and see if we can put one against two? See if they'll come down a little bit more?
Well, we could always ask for them to sharpen their pencils a little bit, but I know we talked about this at the last city council meeting. Obviously, we didn't take any formal action on it, but we just discussed it. And it does appear at first glance that, that Shive Hattery's quote is lower than, Fairgrounds. I believe there's a lot more there may be some more in the Fairground quote than was it the Shive. What are your thoughts, Myron?
Hard to say. I can say both of them, I don't know. I had forwarded an email to Nate at Fairground, and tried to relay in that email, what I think he included that with his
Yes,
information. That I had discussed with Shive, and so I felt they were similar, you
Okay.
know.
And that was my question, and I believe the council's question too, was were they actually apples to apples comparison? And if they are, then the recommendation, I guess, direction I'm getting from my council would be going with the Shive quote, because it's almost 20% lower.
From what I could see, and I didn't read word for word with them, but Shive Hattery came in pretty well on the mark with what they had told us that night out of the boardroom of the school district. And so I was kind of surprised that, pronounces it Fairground?
Yep, it's fair.
Okay, that they came in substantially higher. I mean, wow, almost a third difference, you know, as far as a upward scale. So, yeah,
This one was the, Shive Hattery was 15 and Fairground was 20, is that right?
15.5.
15.5. Do you have a copy of these?
Yeah, I do on here, but I just thought so
Okay.
people know what the amounts are you're
Okay.
talking.
Okay, yep. Yes, definitely. So, are
I
you,
think some of the guesstimation on both parts were how many meetings are gonna be necessary to talk about the concepts. And, at this point, my thought is that it's been talked about a fair amount, and that there probably wouldn't be a lot of additional meetings needed from the consultant, for putting together some concept. But, you know, looking through what was not included when he costs, you know, I think that we're comparing apples to apples in this case.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. I mean, looking through it, it does seem like it would be apples to apples. I mean, it's a concept.
so, having come up with this, you know, thoughts that, you know, Shive Hattery being the lower of the two estimates, is the city willing to help participate?
I can honestly say, yes, we would be willing to help participate. That is the consensus of the council, is to help be willing to participate in this.
And not only in the what do I want to say, engineering expense, but in
Construction.
the total project.
Most likely, in the total project, we haven't taken a vote on it yet. But, and we didn't, like I said before, we didn't budget for it, but I believe that is the direction of the council.
Well, don't feel lonesome.
They
Okay,
haven't budgeted either.
okay.
Myron has a magic wand that he has to wave at.
Yeah. But you know,
I don't want to go forth.
with their participation even, to do the engineering, and then have them say, whoa,
Let's put on the brakes.
we're not going to step up to the plate,
Well, with
because
the,
it'd be
Foolish to spend money.
right, but also and maybe I'm speaking up, well, I am speaking on behalf of the city and council here. It's good in order to find out what the actual cost is going to be, this has to be done. And it's not unusual for us to actually have, and we've done this and we're actually implementing this. We actually get plans engineered out, and then we actually put those plans on the shelf until we budget for them, and then at a later time we get them done. Case in point, street projects here, they were actually drawn up about 3 years ago, and they were put on the shelf until we had the financing all taken care of, so.
okay, well, just trying to get the point, this is a little more than just window shopping,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
we agree.
So, and we've already had some rough estimates of what it could cost up to
Okay,
today's prices.
today's price.
If it's 3 years down the road, that's gonna
There's gonna be
change,
more.
yeah,
Mhm.
so.
Right,
Okay,
and we don't know what the future holds for anybody, so.
if we would've known that, we'd all put some money into lumber a while back.
That's true.
Okay, well, are you looking for a motion to proceed with this then? Is that what you're looking for?
Well, if you wanna pay and get this started, we have money for this in this year's budget,
Yes,
so.
and then we would, I presume, invoice back to the city.
Yeah, and
for
then
their
I have to wait and discuss,
contribution.
like we said, for the big amount later on.
Mhm. Okay, well, then I would make that motion that we proceed with
So
the engineering.
the council is for moving ahead on this project as of right now.
As of right now. Now I have to, if you vote yes on this, I'll have to bring this back to council for them to formally vote yes on this, but right now, it's their consensus to go with the Shive Hattery quote on this, to find out what it is and get an actual cost estimate.
And you guys won't meet until a week from this Thursday, right?
Correct.
But from what I'm hearing them say is they're willing to go forth with the Shive Hattery engineering expense. And then when you meet again, you're gonna say, yeah, but folks, this isn't just
Right,
this, and they know that.
yes,
In
they do.
their heart of hearts, they know that. So, yeah, you just haven't got that official word.
Right, exactly.
Okay,
So should we wait? Well, we can pass it now. Why don't we set a timeline?
Wait until
You
they,
can wait.
to,
You
I
don't
don't
have
think
to do
we're,
it now.
you know,
Why don't we set a timeline? I remember, I read here when they're gonna start everything. There it is. And I don't
Oh.
remember whose that was.
No,
I think
I
those are both.
Those
proposed.
ideas.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you can table it and wait for us to, for me to come back to you. I can't, I mean, it's
with more of a,
more of a firm,
firm that they would help participate in the total project.
yes. Maybe in the form of a resolution, possibly.
Okay.
How about that?
Well, that might be smart then.
Okay,
Okay,
then we'll table it then.
okay.
You wanna rescind your motion?
Didn't have a second, did it?
pass,
Nope.
so.
So
Okay.
it died. Okay,
Sweet, good. Look forward to seeing you again here in the very near future.
well, thank you. Thank you for having me today. Appreciate it. All right.
Myron?
North of Benton near the sand pit. The bridge got replaced, got opened up a week ago, Monday, Tuesday, fine.
With that bridge being replaced with the new one, the old one had a weight limit on it. The new one certainly doesn't need one, but it needs formal action to take that weight limit off. So I have a resolution stating that the new structure no longer needs a weight restriction. That way we can, the signs have all been removed, but the official maps that are out there have that removed from it also.
Good, good. Well, I'd make that motion that we remove that weight embargo, and that's on the bridge 22nd Avenue, isn't it?
Correct.
Okay,
I second it. All in favor?
it's by resolution. Primer, aye.
Seaman, aye. Two of them there, Tracy, you sent them both?
Thank you, sir.
The second resolution, I guess, jumping all over your agenda item, I think, exactly. what they were-
fine.
Just because of the way they, North Blairstown, that bridge deck that's getting replaced, meeting with contractor virtually this afternoon, but that contract that was signed, the late start date on that is actually Monday, May 3rd, but they're not planning on starting May 3rd. He's talking an emergency project that they had to do on interstate over by Williamsburg. He thinks it's gonna be a couple weeks, so I'm thinking about the 17th of May is when he's looking to probably start that project. I'm gonna find out more exactly this afternoon. They needed to talk amongst themselves. The question I had asked them was with their time frame, how was their completion going to line up or not line up with maybe Labor Day, since Blairstown does their annual celebration there, so I'll learn more about that. But a resolution just to close that road for construction temporarily while that's going on.
Well, I'd make that motion that we do a temporary road closure
I'll second
on
it.
that bridge replacement, deck replacement. By resolution,
Yep.
and it's Primer, aye.
Seaman, aye.
Morning, Sheriff.
Email Dave, hopefully we can talk at 10.
Okay. Talking bridges, north of Benton, north of Hummel's Curve on 24th Avenue Drive. The bridge that is
Thank you.
recently closed and under construction. Lumen, formerly CenturyLink, has a phone line on that project. The locates that they provided with me look like when that project gets done with construction, there's gonna be areas where that phone line might not have more than about a foot cover on it. They have proposed to, requesting to relocate that and out to the right-of-way line, since we bought some additional right-of-way. So they did submit a utility permit type of deal. It's very similar in location to where it's at, but it's actually gonna be moved farther west because of the additional right-of-way that we bought. And so there's about 700-800 feet of new cable they're wanting to put in out there to accommodate that.
Makes some good sense, doesn't it?
That's right.
I'll make that motion that we approve that utility permit.
I'll second it, so all in favor for approving the utility permit for layman?
Aye.
Aye. Need you to sign that and date it today?
Referring back to that Blairstown Bridge, will you please let us, the board, know what the timeline is, if it's gonna get into that Labor Day?
Sure.
You know, because I'm sure there's gonna be some questions.
Raise your head.
Utility permit for Windstream, it's primarily in the DOT's right away, but Highway 30 between 11th Avenue Drive and 20th Avenue. They are going to, according to maps, Windstream is on the south side of existing Highway 30 right now. They're gonna move it to the north side of the new 4-line. They are going north on 20th Avenue, about a quarter mile to tie into pedestal that they have, as well as going south of 19th Avenue for just a few hundred feet. 99% of their work is gonna be all in DOT right away, but primarily just a few of the crossings at intersections, the right of way line jogs a little bit from the west side of the road or the east side, so it's borderline whether it's actually, whether the county right of way that was bought by the state and the county's name is in the state's right of way or the county's right of way. Thought it was just as
Covers the bases.
Yes.
Okay. I'd make that motion that we approve that utility permit for Windstream.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All I had, but yeah, I will let you know what I learned later, or how that schedule is, and granted, Mother Nature's gonna play into that Blairstown project. And you anticipate that, what would it be, 22nd Avenue, mile east of Blairstown, going north a mile and then west back past, Titan Machinery, Quad County, might see
We're talking,
traffic.
that's a mud road.
Huh?
That's a mud road.
No, not those two.
Or you're gonna go further north of Newton's then?
First road's rock, the second one is, that comes out right at,
Titans is gravelled, but on
Right.
the other side of Titans to the west is dirt.
yes. I anticipate more traffic using the east side because it's shorter than the west side. The west side, if you run rock, you're gonna have to go on 20th north to 75th Street Drive, which would be a mile and a half, and then back on that rock. Depending on whether you're on the Beltline side or the Watkins side,
Correct.
but I would envision that, that 2 miles of rock is gonna see some increase of traffic. I guess
And they're totally gonna close the road down, right? The bridge.
The bridge deck and the railing on the side are all gonna get stripped down. The only thing you'll see when they get done is the concrete beams that span between the foundations, and they will form up a new deck and pour a new concrete deck on top of those beams and a new railing on the side. And there's some minor work that's done around some of the foundation, putting some erosion stone in areas, and then paved approaches on each side of that bridge, so you will eliminate those problem pothole areas that we have currently.
Good.
Will there be detour signs put up?
Yes,
Good.
and I'm looking to use 26th, which would be the Watkins pavement, running it over to the east up to Highway 30 and around.
Sure. Okay.
Sounds good, Myron.
Thank you.
Ben?
I was just coming in today. I talked to you guys last week about that we had selected 2 spray truck drivers that we were hoping to hire, and I come in today and talk to you about getting that approved. So Luke Hennings and Scott Hefner were our spray truck drivers last year. They were also the only 2 that applied this year, so that also made it easy. I've been really happy with how they've worked out for us, and always been reliable, and I guess that would be my recommendation, to hire both of them back as the spray truck drivers this year. I brought their applications if you guys wanted to look through.
That's Luke and Hennings and who?
Scott Hefner.
Okay.
Are the amounts the same per hour?
I think what did we bump them to this year, 17?
I
I
thought
think
you,
you got your, they gave you your blessing, I think.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought that's what we
I
had
thought
talked
we
about.
had-
So when I factored in like I forget if it was 2.5% or 3% that we normally bump them every year, it was really close to 17, so I think we just decided to set it at that.
okay. Well, you've had them before, so,
Yeah,
Well, I'd make a motion that we approve the hiring of the 2 part-time drivers, Luke Hennings and Scott Hepker.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
awesome.
Done deal.
I'll probably start them, I'm hoping to start them next week. talk to Nancy here and see if that'll work out okay and everything. And I think we're gonna get started on our bare ground treatment, and we've been doing hydro seeding and that type of stuff. We're ready to use them now, so they'll kind of probably work sporadically here until we really get into the spray season
Sure.
and whatnot. But,
Good,
so,
great.
cool.
Alrighty, thank you.
Yeah.
Dale Henry will not be in for the 9:45,
Okay.
okay? Just for FYI.
Oh, so maybe we can get our other meeting started earlier.
Got any reports?
Yes, had hay camp,
Okay.
pretty much all I can say about that. Central Iowa juvenile detention, just for your reference, here's Benton County is on the second line. This shows the year-to-date amounts spent up there. We had a $10,000 allocation. Looks like we're at 61.9 or 6,190 so far. And if you recall, so we're doing well with that, as long as we don't have any big problems. Do we have any big problems?
They come and go, but I don't foresee any.
Okay, good. And then, which this be interest to you, Sheriff, they're talking about having us at one of our meetings, that we would invite at least a number of county sheriffs to come and review the center, have a look-see at it. Have you ever been through that on a tour? Eldora.
I've been to it.
The tour is well worth taking.
Okay.
We've got brought a picture of the engineer's diagram of the expansion project for the adult waived addition. It's going to put that facility up somewhere in excess of 50,000 square feet for the total facility. So it's going to increase it by about a third. The interesting fact that I found was the typical juvenile up there, their average length of stay is 2 days, average. Some longer, some shorter, but that's their average. Adult waived, and you can see that portion in right there by your thumb. That's the addition they're putting on. Adult wave average is 6 months. So I mean, there's quite a time span difference. So it's due to a law that's come down the pike that you can not have adult waived juveniles in with juveniles because they're not considered juveniles any longer. So very interesting meeting. Those are ones that you get a little more involvement. You're not just head count to make a quorum. So, but that's what I had for reports. Yourself?
Had landfill last week. We're in early stages of laying out for a new cell. It's filling up. So
Well, I think with
for
the,
fall of 2023,
oh really?
that we'll have the new cell
Sure.
up and running. So
Wow.
we're starting, instead of waiting till the last minute, going through all of, jumping through the hoops, through the DNR, engineering firm, getting things lined up. So we're trying to stay ahead of things for once.
Sure. Well, I imagine the items like the derecho, you get quite a few more buildings that come in, etc. I know that the Remington seed out here, they're tearing down well, since they have vacated that property, they're tearing down all but 3 of the buildings.
Really?
I mean, and so the buildings that come down are huge. And so it's gotta go somewhere. So I don't know if they've talked to the landfill or not, but, you know, a while back, I mean, a few years ago, they were talking that landfill south of Blairstown had capacity up to the next 100 years, which should outlast me, but is it gonna make it? Is it gonna fill up too quick? I mean, is this cell opening sooner than anticipated?
A little bit sooner. They were shooting for that first cell that they built was supposed to be for 10 years.
Okay.
You know, so it's banging on maybe 8.5, 9 years.
Okay.
But then again, you know, we had all the buildings along Highway 30 for the 4-lane.
Right.
Ended up there. And then, not like you said, not counting all the storm damage. You know.
Right. Okay. And other projects that go on.
Mm-hmm. So.
Interesting. Okay. Well, it concerns me when I hear how we're filling in ravines, you know, with building material, etc., you know, and it's not going to the landfill.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's under the $60 a ton, obviously, but that's a lot of tonnage that goes in a ravine. So, you know, is that something we're gonna have, this is outside of the box, is that something we're gonna have to look at someday? Maybe putting a halt to that kind of activity?
I guess what I was hoping for down the road, and then again, who should be involved in it, is, I have a neighbor, for instance, had a lot of damage from the wind damage, and he had an excavator, piled all the cement up on all the cattle lots and everything, and, cause he's building bigger and better. So he's got a company come in there and ground all that cement to reuse it as gravel instead of hauling it away. And I wish, I don't want the county to be involved in like a central dumping station for concrete, but there again, being on the landfill board, I don't want the landfill board to be involved in that either, but to me, I think that's a good way to,
recycle.
yes, concrete.
Yeah. Rather than just dumping it along the riverbanks
That's
or
right.
ravines,
Yep, yep.
etc. Well, that almost sounds like building codes. You know, things that could be tied in with that, of which Benton County doesn't,
We don't have any.
we don't have anything like
No.
that.
No.
And for future generations, it may be necessary. You know, I can think of one spot where somebody would start thinking they're gonna get big surprises. It's not my property,
Mm-hmm.
but they're gonna get OMG.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, wow. Okay.
That's it for me then.
Thank
so
you. Okay.
Can
All
I
right.
get a motion to adjourn?
Well, I think the sheriff is here. Are you, anything particular? I think we had tabled the city of Atkins last week.
They have voted, they are all good to go.
Okay, so I need to put that back on then for us.
Yeah, see, it's not on the agenda.
Yeah, we didn't put it back on, I
Okay,
wasn't sure.
I know it was tabled, didn't know, so,
So I'll put
He's
it back
here
on.
for something else too.
okay,
We
okay,
have started the hiring process.
okay. Well, I see that advertisement in the,
So,
yeah, but-
are you gonna report on Dale at all, or what's the plan there?
no,
Okay.
yeah, no. So, I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second that motion.